my name is Farhana Mehjabin. I'm currently a freshman at City College and I'm here to answer a few questions. I'll be honest, I'm not completely fond of politics. I don't exactly like politics, but I'm very interested in it because I realize how important it is to us in our daily lives. I realize that regardless of whether I like it or not, I should understand it. I should understand how it might work against us, or work for or against us sometimes. I think it's important to understand those things, and in particular, voting is super important because, especially when it comes to presidential elections, the president actually does hold a lot of power. So it is important to know who you're voting for. It's important to know who has your best interest at heart. It's definitely to vote. It's definitely important to vote and make sure that your voices are heard. I think one of the first ways is probably to better educate the youth. I think when it comes to school, a lot of us aren't really taught about politics much. A lot of the learning that you do about politics is individual learning. Like, you have to kind of teach yourself a lot of it, or whatever you learn about on social media, I guess. Personally, I didn't really know much about politics until I got to college, and I'm taking political science classes. I'm a political science major, which is why I'm learning much more about the political systems. But if it weren't for that, I probably would be clueless right now. So I definitely think that's an important thing, because once you start educating the youth, they'll become more interested and invested in politics, and that will increase participation. So I think that's one of the major things. And I think another thing is listening to the youth as well. I think a lot of politicians don't seem to listen to the younger generation as much, which is why a lot of the times there's less participation when it comes to the younger generation. So it's definitely important for them to make sure which issues are important for us, such as things like college debt and global warming. Those two are definitely very important amongst the younger generation. I think this election is especially important because right now America, quite frankly, isn't doing so well. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so the economy isn't doing the best, and a lot of things aren't going so well. Like right now, millions and millions of people are being evicted or going homeless, and the government isn't doing much to address that. So it's definitely important to make sure that whoever we vote for, they're invested in these issues, or are willing to at least address them to the best that they can. To be honest, there's quite a lot of issues that I want addressed. For example, there's so many issues going on right now when it comes to police brutality and discrimination. There's a lot of issues when it comes to wage gaps, and just a lot of the middle class and lower class are just struggling so much. And other things like healthcare, those are big important issues, but I think I will be completely honest, I'm not very optimistic as to how well either candidate would be willing to address those issues. So right now, I think probably the thing I'm looking forward the most is who is willing to address the things that are actually happening right now. Who is willing to address the millions of people going homeless, the millions of people losing jobs? Who's willing to address that? Who's willing to make sure that we can strive for better medicine and make sure we can, get it to a bigger range of people? We have to make sure that whoever we vote for can at least address those things, at least address the immediate issues, and at least try to alleviate. Like I mentioned before, I didn't really learn much about it in school, and by that I mean specifically in public school. In high high school, well, by that I mean in high school. So in high school, I didn't know much about voting. I didn't know much about the Electoral College. A lot of what I learned was specifically whatever I searched up myself or taught myself. And then, well, when it comes to college, I did learn more, but I think that's specifically because I chose political science. I think if I didn't, I probably wouldn't know as much about politics. I would probably be very, very clueless right now. So I definitely think it's important for our schools to make us more informed about these issues, more informed about, which candidates have our best interests, etc., etc.